Oh, here we go. The legend, J. Michael Vagott. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh man, anytime I see your face, I just glow. I
That's
swear.
not usually the response I get when people see my face.
Me neither, man. They usually cover it up. So, I love the shirt too. We're all talking about gruesome, dude. How classic is that? We're talking about gruesome stuff, and all of a sudden you appear, pale face, and a grim reaper on your chest. I mean, if that isn't death calling, that's that's an entrance by
Yeah,
far.
yeah, but I don't have eyes like a moon-eyed people. I'm more like the mole man.
Got it. But you heard of them, right? The Moonlight
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any stories about them?
Just a little bit that I mentioned in the comments that legends are saying that there were feral people, and those people do exist. People that never left the mountains, and when people started moving in, a lot of them did. They'd move further up and further up, and then eventually they had to go underground. There were caves, and some of them even went into old mines that had been shut down, and they stayed underground so much that their eyes had to adjust to dark so they could see better. But in the daytime, they rarely came out because it hurt so bad because they were always hiding from the folks running around in the daytime.
Yeah, I loved them for that. They were hiding from people. That's my feeling. And then, no, but you know what's interesting is that two things you just mentioned. One is, a lot of people don't realize, but there's a lot of mines, and not just caverns, but there's mines all through the mountains, right? And then there was also in Vegas, they talked that there's both Vegas and New York, in the stone structure underneath. There's people that have their own society so deep down in the ground that they've never seen the light of day. They don't even know that there's a top side. They just grew up down there, and their body adjusts and adapts right to the environment.
Right. Yeah.
And that's talked about quite a lot. Now you're up there in Tennessee on the east coast of Tennessee, or the
Yes.
eastern side, and that's very mountainous. And you guys have a lot of caves up there too. Have you gone exploring in those?
Yeah, I've gone into some of them, but most of those were guided cave tours. But there are caves that you can locate and go on your own. But you're taking a risk. Uh,
Exactly
and,
right.
and I I don't need to take too many risks with my background of accidents. So
You and me both. Knowing
yeah,
my luck, it would for me personally, I would probably walk into a cave that has been there for like since the dawn of time. We're talking thousands and thousands of years. I'd walk in and that son of a bitch would collapse immediately. Just because I walked into it. It'd be like a national disaster just because I stepped into it. Now,
yeah,
you were talking about on just recently you posted a post today. I think you were talking about something similar. Wasn't there a post that you just did today?
yeah. The Legend of Old Green Eyes.
Yeah, so
Absolutely,
that'd be my
yeah.
name. Yeah.
That was a really interesting story. This actually it originated in 1863 at the Battle of Chickamauga, and there was a lot of unalivings there. Of course, it was the second worst casualty listing other than the Gettysburg battle. And after the first major battle was over, one of the generals were patrolling the grounds and checking on people. And in the masses of people that were lying on the ground, he saw this thing that looked human-like, but it was small and had glowing green eyes and long hair. But they said its jaw was deformed and it was huge, and the mouth was like three times the size of a normal human's, and it was full of really sharp, pointed, fang-like teeth. And that he could hear whispers in his head. It was saying it was his land, and he'd been there for centuries, and they needed to leave. And that's part of an Indian legend that this creature is there to protect the sacred land. And that's very popular in this area. They had an Indian powwow in Pigeon Forge at a park there called Patriot Park, and they vowed never to go back there. They said it was full of nothing but evil spirits, And to this day, they've never gone back. They actually moved it over here to Jefferson City, just below where I live.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I do say, like Sherry put in the comments, that neither one of us are allowed to go anywhere without being supervised.
Okay, well, as I was getting ready to say, if you and I went caving together, one would slip and fall. We'd probably be tethered together and we'd take each other out.
Well,
But
that's what
we'd
I
be
said.
laughing the whole way down trying to figure out which one did
Exactly.
it.
Well, we are coming up your way in June. I'm gonna try to like because we have to come up through we're gonna come up through Huntsville again, and I'm gonna try to go through that area a little bit closer to you. Maybe we can meet up, and then we'll
Absolutely.
have some fun. And that would be funny.
Absolutely.
But now, Anne had mentioned Anne Dunbar in the audience here. She mentioned something about the Mothman. Now, Kat knows a lot about the Mothman. She's gone nonstop about it, but I don't really pay attention. So, because it's my daughter, so you don't want to pay attention to her. Have you heard the stories about the Mothman?
Oh yeah, it's one of my daughter's favorite legends, and she goes to the Mothman Festival almost every year. And
There's
the
a
way the legend,
festival.
oh yeah, every year it's huge. I mean, you can hardly get into the town. They got a huge Mothman statue in the middle of town, and all kinds of business that all are about the Mothman and aliens. But the Mothman is supposed to show up when disaster is supposed to strike, because it showed up for several days before the big bridge collapse that happened on Christmas Eve. And
Wow.
several people lost their lives and fell into the freezing waters. And it was a real tragedy. But they said that was the omen. Well, when the Mothman shows up in your town, something bad is going to happen soon. And there's been video of it walking underneath some of the bridges. And it's not only confined to West Virginia, it's been seen in other places right before disasters happen.
Well, what I mean, what? Because I don't know. I'm not too familiar with it. Is it like just like a body of a man and then head of a moth, or is it like how did it
Yeah,
come
it's
about?
huge. And the original story that caught everybody's attention, these kids, they used to make gunpowder and stuff for the military in that area. And they have these huge bunkers, I guess you'd call it, but they're huge and they're cylindrical, almost like a silo. And they stored the gunpowder stuff in those, and that's all abandoned now. And they would go out there to take their dates, and they would what they called spark. This was back in the '60s, and what happened was they were kept hearing things, didn't see anything, but they would hear stuff all around them. Never did see anything, and then eventually they saw what looked like to be two glowing red eyes up in the trees. Then they heard the flapping of wings, but they still couldn't see it. They got panicked. They got in their car and they started driving back to town. There's police reports. You can look these things up online. And this thing was flying alongside them, and they were driving as fast as they could in a car. And this thing was flying right beside them and looking in the windows. And it was a pretty creepy story. And they went to the police, gave their affidavits and reports. The police investigated. It was a big deal back in the day.
It reminds me of that movie. What was that movie? Because it's very similar. What the hell was that? Where they
The
were driving down
Mothman
the road?
prophecy.
No, no, there was like God, that's gonna kill me. It's a very famous movie where they got the van, and then like the brother and sister are driving on a road trip, and then a van passes them by them, and then it's like it only comes around every 10 years. Oh my God, my
You talking about
memory.
Jeepers Creepers?
There we go. That's why
Yeah, great
I gotta,
movies.
yeah, I gotta keep you around, man. My memory is so short. I
Oh,
must have watched that like 100 times. But yeah,
if it's
remember he had
scary,
like
I know. I usually know about it. I love scary stuff.
yeah, I mean I do too. I don't know if I'm like my I think I'm getting Alzheimer's or dementia in my old age because it seems to be get out of there. My
Yeah,
dog.
I thought I was, but I forgot.
No, you yeah. everybody, everybody keeps telling me go to the meetings, but I keep forgetting to go. So it's no. But no, it's yeah, but Cat's always talking about, and you do see it, and that's like a big thing too now. Like, there's a bunch of like merchandise. Like,
Oh yeah,
everybody will make a buck, but you can sell like book bags. They got backpacks. They got T-shirts and all kinds of things on that.
we need
That's
to
crazy.
create. We need to create the Maniki monster and cash in.
I know that's what I'm trying to do. It's like I haven't, I got so many things I've seen, but I'm scared to say it because they're going to lock me up for all the crap I've seen over the years. It's like I can always just tell them like, well, I write horror books. And maybe hopefully they'll let me go. But if I told, it was cool that I'm saying it on a show. But if I said
Yeah.
this stuff out normally, dude, they lock me up in a heartbeat. You saw what, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Have you been drinking tonight? No, sir. But yeah, man, it's just crazy. We do have there's places here in Florida, which is Florida's. It's been around for God. Obviously, whenever it first settled, there was what is St. Augustine when it got settled and stuff like that.
Yes.
So you got a lot of go through. Now I'm originally from Missouri, lived in Hawaii, and then I've only been about here 10 years, and I plan on moving pretty soon, a little bit more up north. However, there's a lot of spots because there's a lot of battles that have taken place here, a lot of legends and all different types of. You still have Native Americans that own land right through here, and there's quite a few places like cemeteries where you cannot go into, like nothing grows. There's
Hmm.
one about an hour out, and then like every time people try to go into it, they get violently ill. Like while they're there, they'll walk in and they'll just start just vomiting, and they
Wow.
can't even go in there. Like they can't even hire a crew. They've tried to because it's all now the cemetery is kind of just like all kind of just went to waylay. It's all got vines. It's not upkept or anything like that. They try to hire different gardeners to go in there and clean that up, and each one of them will turn down the money every
Wow.
single time. And now it's just kind of like, people will stop by and they'll take a picture of it like outside the perimeter, but they won't go inside of it just because of that. And then they have so many buildings. There's one haunted, there was a kind of like not a hotel. It was more like it was kind of more like a, like townhome type place. It was one, I don't know what
Right.
you say. It was basically apartments, but it was like luxury apartments or something like that. Not luxury, but just an apartment building that's down in the Kissimmee area. And it still remains vacant. This is a massive, apartment complex that they said so many bad things were happening. Like light bulbs would go off. They would hear screaming in the middle of the night. Their walls would literally peel. The paint would peel, and it would like parts of it would be all like blood red and stuff. And then this was like reported so many times that finally they couldn't get anybody to live into the place, and then they evacuated it, and they still haven't been able to sell the land. Like they keep trying to sell the land to get because it's in a really big hub area right around. It's a whole bunch. It's funny. You got all these tourists because it's Disney. Like the whole thing. You got all these
Mm.
tourist shops like World of Disney. Dinner theater, restaurants, and then right there it's just like the burbs. You go right through it, and it's just all dead land and this
Wow.
scary ass like apartments, and no one will either. Not no homeless won't go in it. No one will go into these places, and it
Yeah.
just it is creepy as hell. So I
Yeah.
know that the legends down here are like that, but whenever I was driving through Tennessee, we stopped off at this coffee shop, and I mentioned to the person that I was a horror writer. You always try to plug yourself when you're out, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And they were telling me like Tennessee's got one of the most, if not the most, how do you say it? Like the most like ghost stories related to that state,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And
It's considered one of the most haunted states in the United States.
yeah, that's what I heard. And
Yeah,
you guys
it's
know,
there's a lot of stories. There's a really bad haunted place that I used to live right across the street from. It's off of Boyd's Creek Road, just outside of Sevierville area, which is next to Pigeon Forge. It's out in the country, and the house was built. It's called the Wheatlands Plantation. You can look it up online, and it dates back when the slaves were there and stuff like that. And there's supposed to be hundreds and hundreds of unmarked graves on the property. There's over 700 deaths attributed to the home. A creepy place. Creepy place.
yeah. And then when we drove up through. I don't have a map. There's like a place called Jackson, about midway through. And
Hmm.
then we made because I don't like driving highways if I don't have to, although it's probably not smart to take the side roads. I just, I grew up in Hawaii. They have a two-lane road, and I learned to drive on that. So we never really drived on highways. And when I get
Yeah.
on a highway, my butt cheeks tighten up just because of like trucks and everything. They're all over the road. So we made
Yeah.
a mistake of trying to avoid the highway. I didn't want to go through Memphis and I went around the back roads, and we went through some of the most like Silence of the Lambs neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh
we
yeah.
went through one that reminded me of how like the beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre started off on, like the
Yes.
newer one, right? And I'm going through that town, and it's like, even when we got out to get gas, it was very, very unsettling. And
Mm-hmm.
there's almost like a pall or something like that over the town that you feel like Children of the Corn shit's going to happen like any second.
Right.
Now, obviously you live there. Have you ever driven through thank you for the gifts, such neighborhoods?
Oh yes. I mean, I've not only driven through them, I've lived in them. I mean, let's be honest here.
You were a part of the cult.
Yeah, I'm one of the corn kids, okay? But no, they're all around our town, and even our town. It's it's registered on the historic registry, but it's a creepy place, and there's a lot of vacant old apartments, and I mean, I wouldn't go in them at night. Most people wouldn't, but there are more towns like that in that area of West Virginia, and they're here in Tennessee. Not quite as much as in West Virginia where I live. If you go to southern West Virginia, you're going to definitely hear banjo music.
I know it now. I can't get out of my head like you as like the pilgrim the. Have you ever seen God have you seen The Punisher, the TV series that was on?
Yeah.
It started off on Netflix and then it went to
Uh-huh.
I don't know, like Disney or something like that. John Berthal is in it. He did a fantastic job as the Punisher, probably the best I've ever seen.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
he's coming out with an actual on big screen movie, right?
Hmm.
In the last, I think it was the last season, they had the Pilgrim character, right?
Right,
Which
right.
was that guy was terrifying. And then when you go like, I'm the corn kid, all I pictured was that Pilgrim. You walking around. It's like, dude, no one's messing up in my town. You know who
Yeah.
I'm J. Michael Vagott, motherfucker.
Yeah, and then I trip and fall on my own weapons.
It's like one of those spoofs movies. You come out and it's all terrifying, and you fall down like 20 of the first steps.
It'd be like Scary Movie 37 or whatever they're on now.
Now, let me ask you. So I know that we've touched about this in the past. Real quick, for those that don't know, let me jump in real quick. This is J. Michael Vagott. He is a writer, author, brilliant storyteller, and like my hero. I'm
You
gonna
got
see
to
if I
raise
can-
your standards.
And I always had low standards, but I mean, still, it's a
Oh, that makes
standard.
me feel a whole lot better.
I'm gonna see if I'll get one of those action figures made. I actually looked it up. I'm gonna get one of those little bobbleheads. It's gonna be J. Michael Vagott on it. Oh, dude, I'm so getting that. You watch.
So-
I'll send you a pic.
Somebody sent me a picture, and it wasn't supposed to be me. And at the time, I had a beard. I'll see if I can find that picture, and I will put it up so you can see it sometime. It looked like me. It was a rubber action figure, but it was like made in China or something, and the legs were way too long, and the arms weren't the same length. And I said, "Well, it does favor me." I mean, it really did.
The accuracy is uncanny.
Yeah, how they got the body parts in the correct, proportions was amazing.
Yeah, the
One
anatomy
eye,
is really
one eye lower than the other. Everything looked great.
Oh my God! So we know that you have that I know of anyways because I had to look them up. We sent one out to I think Brenda was the winner of your first book, which was the Blood Feud, right? Blood Feud book 1, and then you have another one called out Blood Feud. I can't even speak no more, man. Blood
You must be
Feud.
hungry.
I'm glad it's me. Yeah, you know what? I just got an idea. I need a T-shirt with like my face on the front and Jay Michaels on the back. That would sell. We got to do that. I want to see about making that happen. That's
Might want to put your face on the front and the back of my head on the back.
Mine looks like yours still.
Yeah, and then they would still see my nose, so it would work out.
Oh God, dude! I swear, it's so bad because I spend so much time. I'm losing train of thought. It's because I had like three things I wanted to say, but I can't stop. There's like three things I was going to ask you. Now I can't remember shit. You got me like so off. Um, what was it? What one? Most of the time, when I'm out in public, I'm like very stoic, and then when you're on the show, my face hurts for like 6 days, man, because muscles that haven't been used before get so stretched out of place, it freaking hurts. Um, what I was gonna say is that you had the two books, but you come on and you tell such great stories, which I recommend for anybody that doesn't know Jay Michael that's in the audience. I do see some other new people on there. Jay Michael is a fabulous storyteller. He has his books on Amazon, so please go check him out. But we've talked about this before, but we always get a little bit new people on the audience, and some people weren't on some of the other shows. I know that you've asked, or at least we've asked, are you ever going to possibly put some of these stories into a book, like even just your own? You got so much history. Can we get some books like an autobiography or something of you?
Well, as a matter of fact, one is planned, hopefully, to be published this year.
Oh,
After I
really?
get Blood Feud out of the way and another project I'm working on. So it'll be a collection of my personal stories plus other legends and that kind of will extend what I've put out on the little short video stories that I've done.
Perfect. If you get when that gets ready to release, let me know. We'll promote the hell out of that. Like, I
Sure
mean,
will.
we'll give out like for the top three viewers on my show. We'll get a copy of the book.
Well, I want
So
to get
we'll do
some of
something
your
like.
stories in the book too.
Oh no, no, that'll kill your sales, bro. Wait,
They
I
probably
said
won't be
let's
able
do that.
to.
That'd get us both locked up. I'm scared. Marion's always like, and some of the other guests are always like, "Hey, Mike, tell more stories." I can't tell a lot of the stories because I would go to jail. So,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the first book I wrote about all my accidents. Bet you can't stick a fork in mine. Other stupid things I've said and done.
yeah.
If I told the stories I left out, the Humane Society, everybody would be after me. Not that I was intentionally mean to animals. Don't get me wrong, but
I like the
but I did
disclosure.
things by accident when I was a kid
You got
that we
what?
won't go into. I said I did that. Yeah. We're not going to discuss those here. I'm not allowed to speak about that. My lawyer told me. Uh,
I had I was thinking about doing a book with some of my stories, and then doing it as putting at the beginning that these stories are fictional, 100% fictional, and that would be the only way to get around it, right? And then you put down
right.
like, but that would be the only way. It's just it might happen down the line. I might do short stories like that. It's hard to say,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
I've got an outline of a book we started to write, me and a couple other authors when I was still in West Virginia. It was called Mountain Tales, Tall and True. And some of the stories would be real and some of them would be fabricated. And
Yeah.
then you would have to read them and take a guess. But we were going to set it up to where you could go to find out if your answers were right. Go to a
That's
website.
cool. That's actually a good concept. Like it's basically like true or false. You read the stories, you love them, and then you can go in there and check it out. That's a good
Right.
idea. Is if Stephanie James is still in the audience? I don't know if she is. If she's still in there, you might want to do something like that for your series, Stephanie, on there. But yeah, I'm just joking around. But that is a really cool concept. I'd love to do something like that. But that's the only way we would get
Yeah.
around it without getting in
I don't
trouble.
think I don't think it's ever been done before.
I don't think so either. That's a great concept. You're onto something there. That's nice. All right. Now you mentioned you
Well,
have that book possibly coming out for let's say within for like 2026 and 2027s. I mean, how many projects are you currently working on or thinking about working on?
I hope to publish 5 to 6 books by the end of this year. Now they're
Wow.
not all going to be 300 and 400 pages long. There's going to be some smaller novella type books in that mix too.
Yeah, and you know what, the funny thing is, I think nowadays, at least in my opinion, novellas are doing better when I look around, just because people, without trying to offend anybody, with like the attention spans are shorter. And I know mine
Yeah,
is. Mine's from
yeah,
memory loss, though. But I mean, so I noticed that
yeah.
novellas are selling faster than these like 300 to 500 page books. Not saying anything's wrong with it, but I
Yes,
am seeing that, right?
right, exactly.
Yeah, and I see like especially like book series, right? Like when you're doing book series, uh, maybe start off at the first, some of them are bigger as you go through and then going on back down. But back in the day, you had. Do you remember? I'm sure you have. There was what is it? Something Jordan. His books were like 1,000 page long. There was a
Oh
whole book.
yeah,
I forgot what it was called. Something with the sword, the heroine on the sword.
yeah. I can't
They made
remember.
yeah, they made a TV series about it too, and but it was Robert Jordan. Robert Jordan was the author,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah,
he has that huge collection of books, and every one of his books was 1,000 pages or more. Now I read most of them. I read like 6 or 7 of them, but 1,000 pages—that's a tough book to get through. So it probably wouldn't be
yeah,
fun. Yeah,
yeah. That would
but
be
now
that would take some people that really like to read.
exactly. Now, would you ever consider? Because I see back one of the old school books that I'm a big fan of was a Dragon Lance series, and it was like Dragons of Twilight, Dragons of I will forever think of Jay as the Corn Kid.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I guess I got to make a costume.
The next show we
Yeah.
got just the
Hey, I'm
builder
the
from
corn kid.
builder of
Let's
the
talk
corn.
about corn. Uh,
Oh my God, dude. That would be awesome. I think like during the Halloween we gotta have a costume contest. That would be sick.
yeah, and then we could all dress as characters from
That's what I'm
books.
talking about, like characters in the book. We'll get like
Of
everybody in
course,
the audience going
I'll have to
that
hurry and write the corn kid from the corn patch or something.
make it a spoof. That's actually a book. I bet you people would buy it, man. You gotta give it a shot.
Yeah, they probably would. The crazier it sounds, the more people want to find out what it's about.
Exactly. Now, I would believe that you mentioned since Stephanie James is in the audience. Now, I've worked with her. I did the book Next Move, and then Shay is in the audience as well. And I actually have Shay. I'm about halfway done with hers. And Shay, I know you're in the audience. Let me tell you, your book, it's there. Have you had a chance to read it yet, Jay Michael?
No, I've got all of them. I'm going to read them all, but
Yeah.
I'm working on a separate thing for Stephanie James Publishing that she asked me to work on. So I'm
Yeah.
concentrating on that real quick, and then I'm going to go back to Your Eyes series.
Yeah, we're going to go talk about that in just a second here. So, I was going to say is that Shay, the way she starts off the book is very unique. I think it was brilliant how she sets the stage right off the bat. And it was a great way to continue my story.
Yeah.
I think that it has got the right amount of creep factor out the door. And then I will say, without giving too much away, I'm about halfway through it, and then all of a sudden I hit this chapter that literally threw me so freaking far off. Right? I'm reading it, and all of a sudden I'm all like, "Wait a minute." I go back and I read that same chapter, I believe at least 10 times to think because I thought somehow my Kindle had skipped to another book, right?
Wow.
And then I go back and I'm rereading it and I'm all like, damn, Shay, you went all out on this chapter. I will say, I'm not going to give it away, but after I read that chapter 10 times, I had to go take a very long cold shower. So Shay really takes you for a ride in this story. It is very unique and very well done. And yeah, we're talking spice that was like, what the hell? But it was well done. It was well done.
Maybe not for the corn kid, you saying?
Probably not for the corn kid, but I tell you what, that book is awesome. I think Shay's a brilliant writer. I'm a huge fan of her anyways, but holy shit, Shay. You really She took that up to a level. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Go read this a third, fourth, five times. But we're going to be heading out in just a second. But real quick, I do know that you mentioned that you are going to be tagging along onto the Stephanie James line there. So give us a little feedback on that, or what you got planned, or
Oh,
what you do.
I'm excited about it, and I'm not going to say anything because I really don't know if I should, because the book I'm working on might still be a secret as well.
Okay, cool, cool. But we do know that you are working on a book for Stephanie James Publishing, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right. And do we have a, I know it's a little bit premature, but do we have a timeline per se that we can know
For
a little bit? For just maybe.
it'll be soon. It'll be soon.
Okay.
I'm reading through because we initially started on just one section, and then she asked me to go back just read the whole thing because she felt like it wasn't fair to me or the other author for me to just go from a snippet. So I'm reading the whole thing, and then I may still go from what I originally started with, or it may be totally different. But it's not going to be a long, drawn out book, so it won't take long.
No, but that's one thing I like about the concept that's being done. One, real quick, I know she's in the Austin, and I'm not. If anybody knows me, I'm not a kiss ass. I'm pretty straightforward and blunt, so I don't really care if I say anything offensive to certain things. However, with her, I will say that the experience was very well. She was very easy to work with, which was very pleasant. I think that her idea was extremely brilliant on how she was came up with the concept. It was something that I talked about before. They had done something similar in the 80s. And I will say that it was very important for me to have read your move first. Otherwise, I don't think I
Right.
could have wrote a good enough sequel to that. And I
Mhm.
think that, and then Kristen Moran wrote a side character. Like I had a side character in my book, and she wrote from the perspective of that character, which really brought it to
Yeah.
life. But it wasn't very long. And I don't think that that's, when you're writing, you're choosing your own ending. I don't think it needs to be very long books because you already got a story. You're just either adding or subtracting something to it and creating your own perspective or view.
Right.
And I
Well,
think that's unique.
yeah, the so far, basically, that's what it looks like I'm going to do with this book. Take a character and a situation from the book and take it in a different direction. So unless I change while I'm reading this, but that's my thoughts right
Yeah.
now.
Gotcha. I will say that Stephanie James was smart enough to take and reach out to some of the authors. I mean, you, Christian, and Shay. If I was to choose people to work with, that would definitely
Yeah.
be it. Which brings me to my last question. I guess we'll wrap up. I know that Amy's got to do her own show, so I recommend you guys go check her out. She should be already on that show. But to wrap up, just really quick, I do know that there was a story, or the Dragonlance that I mentioned earlier, was done by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman, and it was a really great story that really influenced me to become a writer as well. These two authors teamed up and they wrote a series together. Would you ever think about teaming up on the same book with like another person and just making that story
Oh,
just be the biggest badass?
absolutely. One of my favorite series that I read was Stephen Kuntz's Frankenstein series, and he teamed up with a different author in each one of those, and that was amazing. And I would love to do something like that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're gonna let you guys all go to Amy. Amy's got a really good show tonight. I don't want to distract from her because she's always coming to my show. So, real quick, J. Michael, walk us out of who you are.
I'm Jay Michael, better known as the Corn Kid, and I write paranormal horror and stuff like that. And my series is called Blood Feud. Blood Feud Book One, Blood is Thicker Than Water, and Blood Feud Book Two, Blood Ties. One starts in the mountains of West Virginia, where the Pharaoh people are, and but these are hillbillies and they're vampires. And then the second book takes the main character to Budapest, Hungary, to try to save his mother.
And then do that corn kid crap stuff, dude. Like it's in the it's in the comments, something fierce. That's such a
You
awesome.
think you got a T-shirt? I got a T-shirt.
That's definitely going to be put out there. I'm gonna make one up for sure and send it to you.
I'm a,
Um,
I got it. I've got it written out in my head. I know exactly.
got it. So, my name is Mike Manicki. I'm the host of Nightwriter Myths Legends. I'd like to thank you guys all for checking out the show every Tuesday at 8 p.m. It means a lot to me. If you guys are wanting to check out my other works, please know that I have all my books on Amazon. I am the author of like the Twins, other books. You can get those there. Also, if you guys want to, I got a new book series coming out called Waters of the Dark. Mia MP is doing the cover for that, and three of the viewers down below are actually in that book series. And I really think this is going to be probably my biggest accomplishment out of all my writing. I hope that you guys enjoy it. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you, J. Michael, again, brother. You guys have a
My
beautiful
pleasure.
night. Thank you guys until next week. All right. I don't know how to turn it.